And that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for what? Hey, I'm not gonna get sued for this, right? Hello, Internet. Welcome to another Pokémon Themed Team. MatPat just posted his final game theory videos, so this week, let's make a Pokémon team for MatPat from the Game Theorists. And after careful consideration, I think I found the perfect Pokémon team that could represent the Theorist brand. Before I start though, I just wanted to say thank you to MatPat, Steph, and everyone who has worked at or is still working at the Game Theorist or any of the other theory channels. Thank you, and I hope this video can stand as my appreciation for everything MatPat, Steph, and all of Game Theory has done for me. Now with that, let's hop right in. For this video, I thought it would make sense to give MatPat Pokemon to represent the 5 main Theorist channels: the Game Theorist, the Film Theorist, the Food Theorist, the Style Theorist, and GT Live. But this causes some issues since a completed Pokemon team uses 6 Pokemon, so I definitely recommend to stick around to see which Pokemon I use for the final spot. Anyway, with all that said, it's time to talk about the first Pokemon for MatPat's team. Representing the Game Theorist, it's Porygon Z. Alright, allow me to explain. Porygon Z may be a Generation 4 Pokemon, however its first form is one of the original 151 Pokemon from the original Red and Blue Pokemon games. And of those original 151 Pokemon, I felt Porygon's lore mirrored a lot of the relevant themes found throughout the Game Theorists videos. Firstly, Porygon is the first man-made artificial Pokemon, existing as computer code. And like other more iconic man-made Pokemon, like Mewtwo and Ditto, it seems that Porygon has some connection to Team Rocket. The only in-game location for Porygon is as a reward at the Celadon City Game Corner, a location that is ran by Team Rocket. Now this is all good and interesting lore, however what I think really solidifies Porygon Z as the representation for game theory would be Porygon Z's evolution method. First you take a regular Porygon and trade it with a held item, the upgrade, which gives you a Porygon 2. This doesn't seem too out of the ordinary, since it takes the polygonal model of the original Porygon and smoothens it out, a literal upgrade if you will. However, the evolution from Porygon 2 to Porygon Z is a lot more off-putting. Similarly to the prior evolution, you trade Porygon 2 holding an item, but this time using the item, the Dubious Disc, and immediately there is something wrong. The model seems off, corrupted and glitching out sporadically. It's unstable and turns this bulky duck into an insane wall breaker. What's more, even the item's description is extremely off-putting, a transparent device overflowing with dubious data. Its producer is unknown. The mystery and intrigue in figuring out who created the Dubious Disc, and why they would create it, is fascinating. Could it make for an interesting theory? I'm not sure. However, for this video, the focus on unknown software developers and corruption sounds similar to themes found in various games that Game Theory has covered. Games like Petscop, Andy's Apple Farm, Catastrophe Crow, and even the original FNAF Help Wanted all deal with dubious developers creating something that just feels wrong. Also, I think it's important to note how the Porygon line was also banned from ever showing up in the anime, outside of a few cameos, after some cryptic events of Porygon-related episodes causing epileptic seizures. It's for these reasons I truthfully believe Porygon Z has to represent game theory. Moving on to the second Pokemon for this team, it makes sense to use a Pokemon to represent the Film Theorists. However, this may have been the hardest Pokemon to figure out. Now, I generally had an idea for the 6 Pokemon I wanted to use. However, there isn't a single Pokemon that outright represents film or theorizing on films. Pokemon is an entertainment franchise and has many movie references and entertainment-based trainers. However, it's clear that there isn't a canon film-based Pokemon. That being said, there is a set of film-based Pokemon that are completely unavailable to the player, and those are the Pokestar Studio opponents. In the Generation 5 sequel games, Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, one of the side quests early on takes you to the Pokestar Studios, located right by Burbank City. Here you can act out with Pokemon in battles that would belong in various movies, and oftentimes the Pokemon you'd battle will be completely unique models. Technically they aren't actual Pokemon, however, to represent the movies and films that film theory focuses on, I think it would be hilarious to use one of the Pokestar opponents. Of the Pokestar opponents, the 3 I think would work best would be Humanoid, Majin, or Monster. Now, of these 3, Majin is the strongest, being a dark ghost type with Wonder Guard. making it completely immune to every single Pokemon type besides Fairy. However, Monster and Humanoid look a lot creepier and fits more with the horror side of some of Film Theory's videos. Ultimately, I'm going with Humanoid because it's my favorite design of the three. However, if you wanted to make the strongest version of this team, use Majin. You know what? These aren't canon Pokemon anyway. Combine Majin's typing and ability, and give it Humanoid's design. Moving on to our third Pokemon, it's time to give MatPat a Pokemon to represent his third channel, the Food Theorists. Now there are a lot of food-based Pokemon, which is surprising, but honestly they are some of my favorites. Now, though there's a lot of different types of food-based Pokemon, it only feels right to give MatPat a Snorlax. I mean, for all the theories MatPat has been doing on this channel, trying different foods or trying to uncover recipes via taste testing, you would want a Pokemon that is willing to eat anything. Also, I just love Snorlax, so I'm making this personal choice. The last of the main theory channels to represent is their most recent channel, the Style Theorists. Now you'd think for a gaming and film franchise like Pokemon, you'd think that finding a Pokemon related to games and film would be easier to find. That it'd be harder to find a Pokemon based on fashion and clothes. However, this was actually the easiest Pokemon for me to choose. Heading back to the 5th generation of Pokemon, Unova actually had a Pokemon and gym focused around fashion and style. That being the bug-type fashionista, Leavanny. This stylish bug-type is known for sewing together various outfits out of leaves and giving it to Pokemon it adores. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if Style Theory one day tried to make a fully functioning outfit out of leaves, or something related to Pokemon and fashion. Either way, these 4 Pokemon are the Pokemon I would use to represent each of the 4 main game theory channels. That being said, a Pokemon team requires 6 Pokemon, so for the last 2 slots, I will need to get creative. For the next Pokemon, I wanted to represent GT Live, since it's been one of my favorite theorist channels to watch. However, I don't really know if there's a Pokemon based on live streaming. That being said, I ultimately decided that the best option was to be Rotom. Now, we all know what Rotom does, little electric guy that can invade appliances and create alterations. And we all know the main electric appliances he can turn into: washing machine, microwave, fan, lawnmower, and refrigerator. But Rotom is insanely prevalent in the Pokemon world. From Rotom Pokedexes, to Rotom phones, to even Rotom bikes and Rotom drones that live stream battles. I feel that Rotom is the ideal Pokemon for any content creator. Also, side note, Gen 9's electrical gym leader Iono is a live streamer, so it makes sense that the electric type is the reference for live streaming and entertainment. The last Pokemon I wanted to give needs to represent the core fundamental of theories. So of all the 1,000 plus Pokemon we have, the best to represent the art of investigating and discovering theories is Ryan Reynolds. I mean, Detective Pikachu. Yeah. So these are the 6 Pokemon I think MatPat would have used if he was in the Pokemon universe. Given the fact that there are 4 new successors to each of the GT Live videos, I thought about giving each of them a team and creating an Elite Four and Champion thing with them, but I might save that for a later date. Really, I've been working on this for the past several weeks, and though a lot has been happening to me personally, I really wanted to make sure that this was the best it could possibly be. And if for some reason MatPat or anyone from Team Theorists sees this, thank you so much for all the work you guys have done. Game theory and its existence has always been a big part of my life. Thank you, and I hope you all enjoyed.